I would now like to invite our moderator, Mr. Bhavesh Pitroda, Director and CEO, imagesgroup.in, to please join us on the stage. I would also like to request the speakers to join us on stage, Mr. Hemant Mudadla, Country Logistics Leader, Decathlon, Mr. Shirish Kalamkar, GMIT Major Brands, Mr. Swarndeep Singh, Managing Director, Logic ERP, Mr. Deepak Singla, Co-founder, VP, Omnichannel Retail, Vinculum. Well, I'd like to quickly take you through each of our moderator and our speakers who are joining us on stage. Bhavesh Pitroda, who's our Director and CEO of Images Group, is associated with the retail industry in India for over a decade and currently is the founder of Fidgets and Internet Commerce Summit. Prior to this, he was also associated with Images Group, which serves as a catalyst for modern retail business in India. He's a pioneer in creating platforms, print plus events plus digital, which helps catalyze the retail businesses and has worked with retailers across functions and levels, covering a single store retailer to a large multinational. Our speakers: Hemant Mudadla, Country Logistics Leader, Decathlon, a dynamic person with extensive experience in supply chain and logistics, a highly collaborative team leader skilled at maintaining a striking balance between innovative and process-driven approaches, possess excellent business acumen, analytical abilities, and strong execution skills. It's delightful having all our speakers and our moderator here. You may step up and take your seats. I'd like to introduce each of you and your profiles to our audience here. Maybe have a moderator. Let's give a big hand to our moderator, Mr. Bhavesh Pitroda, on stage. I'd now like to invite our speaker, Mr. Hemant Mudadla. Maybe have you on stage, please. I would like to tell you more about our major brand, Shirish Kalamkar, General Manager IT, accomplished Senior Information Technology Manager offering over 28 years of demonstrated career success in developing and executing operational strategies to promote organizational growth with optimal utilization of emerging technologies. Presenting, he is working with Major Brands India Private Limited as General Manager. Lovely having you with us, sir. Welcome. Thank you. Well, I would now like to invite Mr. Swarndeep Singh, Managing Director, Logic ERP, to please join us on stage. ERP Solutions Private Limited, an ERP company founded in 1993. Mr. Singh has over 25 years of experience in IT industry, and he has worked and traveled with the top notches of different countries. He has round experience in different operations of software companies like project management, sales, product management, and customer relation. Mr. Swarndeep holds a post-graduation degree from Ajmer University, Rajasthan, India. He is looking at expanding the business reach in the UK and European market with suitable partnerships with similar companies, consultants who can offer offshoring outsourcing services in the region. Lovely having you with us, sir. Welcome. Thank you for taking time out and joining us. I would now like to invite Mr. Deepak Singla, co-founder, VP Omnichannel Retail, Vinculum, to please join us on stage. Deepak has nearly 25 years of extensive experience in consulting CXOs, executives, and global retailers. He has worked across the supply chain and retail verticals before co-founding Vinculum in 2007. He has got his education from Bangalore University, India, and is highly skilled in retail, CPG, and logistics domains. Well, the session set, our speakers are here, our moderator are here, and thank you for being patient enough for standing right there and joining us. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the case study number 5 for the day, the live case study on omni-channel retail, how to do it. I would now like to hand it over to our moderator, Mr. Bhavesh. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Last session of the day, and I think let's make it more engaging, interactive. We have some very interesting insights here, very eminent panelists who've joined here. So let's begin. Any guess, omni-channel as a concept, how did it evolve? When did it evolve? So there's a small story. Globally, Best Buy was competing with Walmart, and in 2003, they saw that they were not able to compete as much as they wanted to with Walmart. And although they were seeing that their online store was doing much better in terms of a single store growth, and that's where they said, let's bring more experience into, bring customer experience and compete with Walmart. And that's how the process of Omnichannel evolved in around 2003. Cut 2012, Flipkart launched in 2009 with one category, and Kishorji in one of our forums mentioned that, e-commerce is all about shifting products from one location to other. The touch and feel factor will never go. So all of them were surprised because Amazon had just announced they are entering into India. And it was a very interesting statement. And he made it boldly that we are here, and obviously brick and mortar is not going to be affected by the e-commerce. 2014, BigBazaar.com was launched. So within 2 years, you could see the transition, as well as because Amazon launched in India. And the journey continues. So earlier, the focus was not majorly on e-commerce for the brands. Yes, there were few brands who were working on e-commerce, but majorly the store growth was more important. COVID has really changed the way we look at the e-commerce business as a model. And I think we will try to bring out as much as we can in the panel today. So continuing with what our host spoke about, the panelist, maybe just a quick 1-2 minute on, about your brand, about what's been your last 3 years of journey from a brand perspective, from a business perspective, if you can please share.
Okay. Hello. Yeah. So from a brand perspective, I think the journey it's kind of common across the country, I guess, thanks to COVID, how it has really changed, how we look at the omnicommerce as a business model. Because Decathlon was predominantly always into multi-channels. We always had e-commerce and retail as well. But I think it's COVID that really fast-tracked this process. There were other countries of Decathlon which was doing different omni-channel retail, but then it just, the life has changed. It's just the numbers have, I can't give you the numbers, but for sure they just doubled or tripled in the last 2 years. And that means that we had to go through a big amount of change, be it in terms of supply or be it in terms of how you manage the IT, the back end, the amount of partnerships that we have gone through. I think it's phenomenal how it went in the last 2 years. But I think what is most important, at least for us in all these, was that what is the customer promise that we always keep up. Because I think that's something that we always obsess with in Decathlon. Is to see, irrespective of what channel we are in, be it in the store or omni-channel, we always need to make sure that the customer is really at the top of that game.
Thanks, Hemant. Yeah, Shirish.
Yeah, so for us, definitely this pandemic has put us onto a fast track. We are not definitely new into the e-commerce or omni-channel business. We are being there since quite some time, almost we are completing a decade now. However, till 2000, we started putting more focus onto the omni-channel and e-commerce business since 2018 onwards, focusing on it rather. But till then, our perception was to have a kind of a 1 or 2 or 3 stores revenue should come from the e-commerce. But with this pandemic, the entire dimension has changed, and now we are talking about X percentage of a business should come from the online channel. And of course, it taught us a lot. I mean, this 2 years or 3 years. Rather, whatever we have a complete growth factor in last 2 years and all, or we were able to sustain in the market to a large extent because of this omni-channel and e-commerce business. That is what I can say. Yeah.
Thanks, Harish. So that puts me, what are the key success factors for an omni-channel brand? Meaning, what are the key success factors that create a great omni-channel brand?
Yeah, sure. I mean, probably many people might be not knowing what exactly this major brand means. I mean, we have quite a few international brands with us. We are into a fashion and body care products to a large extent. We represent the brand like Aldo. We have Charles & Keith. We have Beverly Hills Polo Club. We have Bath and Body Works. We are bringing in Victoria's Secret. Rather, it is with us now. First store is getting open in a month's time in Mumbai Palladium Mall. So quite a few brands we are bringing into India, and we are into the business since.
So guys, all international brands, there are only two companies which bring. One is Major Brands and one is Reliance Brands.
Yeah, and we are no more major brands now. We have opted our name to Apparel Group India.
Yeah.
Apparel Group is our parent company in GCC, where we represent more than 75 brands and about 2,000 plus stores in 7 countries of GCC, and we are a India part of it. So far it is known as a major brand, but now it is being Apparel Group India. So we started our omnichannel journey in 2013, so when e-commerce was not really that popular in India as such. So what we used to do is basically we had a Octashop base, our e-commerce, a brilliant company from Mumbai, NM Commerce, I believe.
NF Soft.
Yeah, NF Soft, they had built up our e-commerce site, and we had a multi-brand website called majorbrands.in. That was our multi-brand site for all our brands. What we used to do is basically simply we used to send a delta every half an hour to that site, and our entire inventory was published there. So that was catering to all our e-commerce customers, and apart from that, we used to have an endless aisle at the store using the same inventory. We used to call it as a multi-channel. That time, what the name which we used to term it as a multi-channel. My multi-channel head who was representing, he is sitting right across here, Nayan Shah is here. So he was handling that particular business in the company. And we were doing pretty well with that particular concept. So in 9-10 years, but as I said earlier, we were not focusing much onto that business because brick and mortar is definitely our strength. We are present almost all across all A-grade cities as such, and most of the malls we are present. But how many people we are leaving, or how much is my reach as far as the geography is concerned of a country like India is hardly anything. So this is the way, or e-commerce and omnichannel is the way where I can increase my customer base. I can reach to anywhere across the country. Now probably I don't think that we have any pin code that where we are not able to serve. Almost everywhere, right from the northeast to Kanyakumari and to the Jammu Kashmir and whatever or Bhuj, everywhere we are able to give our products in a seamless manner as such, and we are reaching to almost every customer. So this has definitely increased our customer base. That not only that, now if you look at our products, like take an example, Aldo, Charles & Keith, or even Bath and Body Works, these are the international brands, and the new generation, they are used to these particular products because they have spent some time outside. They are back to India. They are there in many cities as such, like even they are there in Pune, they are there in Nagpur, Aurangabad or Mysore, these kind of cities. If I have to reach them, they know the brand. If I don't have this kind of a solution available, I won't be able to cater to them. And that is my customer. Even today, even in Mumbai or so, or even in Bangalore. I mean, I've been in Bangalore in last month, and this month also I'm in Bangalore for quite a few days. Reaching to your market city is a pain.
I agree with that.
I will
Bangalore traffic.
I will lose the patience of shopping, definitely. It is not that easy to reach there. Or even Bhavesh knows that reaching from Andheri to Palladium Mall, probably he will say, forget, I don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Rather, I will buy certain things directly on the omnichannel or on the e-commerce site. So these dimensions are changed. Young generation needs something faster, very quickly deliver without reaching to that particular place because they have tested the product. And that is what actually we are putting more and more focus onto this area. So I think, yes, nowadays, no retailer can go without omni-channel capabilities or e-commerce presence as such. Even Kirana shop is also trying to deliver it to you through a WhatsApp commerce, I can say. Right? You can just WhatsApp. You don't need your phone call nowadays. You can just send
your quick commerce now has become very, very active.
So yeah, this is going to be there, and rather it has to get mature more and more.
Yeah. From your perspective, what are the key factors that drive, omni-channel brand?
See, I think when you're talking from a brand perspective, something like Decathlon, again, will come back to the customer because that's where, that's the center of what we do. And irrespective of the channel, I think, one thing first with the Omnichannel, it became very complicated because it was previously very simple. Either you deliver it to home or he comes and buys at your store. Now you pick up from store, they can order it, they'll book a slot, they'll come and pick up whenever they like, or sometimes they will come to the store, order it and pick it up at a later point of time. So it's now the number of iterations became too many. And that means that at every single point that you have to make sure that you take care of your customer. And so for me, irrespective of what channel am I talking about, be it home delivery, be it installation services, de-installation, returns, pickup, experience at the store, now everything became together. And the customer has to be at the center of it to really make sure that, the promise that you give as a brand is still respected. And I think that plays a very big role in the success of an omni-channel strategy, because every customer has an impression about you when they come to shop at you, and they always want to get that experience irrespective of the channel that you are delivering through or you are catering through. So for us, it's a customer promise that we always believe is the center of the success for the omni-channel strategy. And of course, the back end and the IT systems, everything falls into place if you're sure what you want to do for your customer, or they have to fall in place for sure.
So customer first strategy is what Decathlon looks at from a omni-channel play.
Yeah. I think it's more to say that give a similar experience across the channels, because that's what a customer would want from you. Because Decathlon has an image in the mind of a customer, and irrespective of the channel, we want to give them the same experience.
So Mr. Swandeep, you've been in this ecosystem for last 30 years. You've seen brands from a very premature stage where they had 1-2 stores and now have grown to about 100-200 stores, and also on omni-channel. So where do you see the key success factors for a successful omni-channel brand?
So as we have listened to Hemant, as Hemant told and Shishiji told about, say, like how the market evolved, and today's market is totally customer centric, right? And when we want to cater those customers, we need the first and the foremost thing is the real-time inventory, right? I prescribe every brand invest in your inventory management system, whether you have your production units as well as your distribution, retail, and number of things. Every piece should be real time, because if your inventory is online, everything on real time, you'll serve better. You will not going to lose any order or lose any sale, right? Second, I don't finish at this omni-channel only retail on the real-time inventory. The second part I would talk to about omni-channel communication, where you serve your customers on their queries after the post-purchase also. Then we would like to talk about the omni-channel marketing. How you do the market if you have a customer data, particularly what he's buying, what he's not buying. How do you pitch those customers? So if you have that data and the omnichannel marketing and the personalized you are doing it, there you can increase your sales. That's the purpose of the aim of the omnichannel purpose there. And third, as we are going, we are serving those orders from the nearby places. If we are serving through the stores, or we are saying them the dark stores, or from our brick and mortar stores, so we need to train their staff.
So you are saying training the store staff or the dark store staff is very critical.
See, if we talk about 10-15 years ago, so like then my salesman just show the product and give them in a bag, right? Now what we have changed, say like we are receiving the orders. If we are receiving the orders, we need to train them how to pick, pack, and ship. If you have a smaller stores, we need to train them on these three parts. If we have bigger stores, it's a 10,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet type of stores. So there's a specialist guy. We are only training them on the picking. Somebody is on a packing on the boxes. And the third guy is on the shipping also. So training is must. And lastly, I would like to talk about any player you are choosing from the tech side. Choose them who are open to consume APIs and give APIs. Because this will give you the boost in the technology, because when there are the n number of tech players joined hands, they can really give the good support. For example, in the OMS, Vinculum is my partner. We talk about, I have just seen it's Freshworks is there. They are into the omnichannel communication is there. There is a CRM company, they are also my partner. I'm not doing such, when we are giving this a full stack of, say, it's a technology, it's inbuilt. So then the experience is something different.
So you're saying that the technology, what you implement has to be open, meaning can have different plugs as
different
APIs
plugin.
and integrate as a one single.
Integrate एक solution जो है, वो पूरा उसको मिल गया. So that's suffice the purpose.
Sure. Deepak, Vinculum has been serving more than 500 customers, and you've seen in the last 20 years the evolution of retail. So what's your view on what are the key success factors for being a successful omni-channel brand?
Sure. Yeah, in fact, Swan did try to cover some of it, and he's grayed his hair and I've lost mine trying to figure out all of this for the last 25, 30 years. But then since the industry has been changing and been evolving so much, it's really the technology, like you said, to keep pace with the evolving business, right? So earlier, Sirish said, they started way back in 2013, right? And they still used to call it multi-channel or today's omni-channel. But then, things have evolved so much ever since. So, I would say there are, technology-wise, there is, real-time inventory, visibility of real-time inventory at every location of fulfillment. Will enable the omni-channel experience, and there's, real-time inventory, real-time integration. So integration with all the platforms, online platforms or your store platforms or wherever the fulfillment location is, and so on. And then, he said communication to the customers, of course, that's another key block. And then the routing, real-time routing or the order hopping, right? When we say omni-channel, right, it is very important that my order, wherever it has come in from, and we bring it to the systems, we bring it to you, we bring it to the fulfillment location, it reaches the right fulfillment center in the right time, right? So it has to have, and to be able to deliver that order, we have to have inventory there. So real-time inventory, real-time integration becomes key, and obviously hopping. So if a store does not have, so look, you're trying to fulfill an order from a store where there are walk-in customers. You're clocking in transactions real time as well. So becomes tricky. And look at major brands. I mean, they have luxury, and premium brands, right?
There's different categories. So major brands
very
is
different
available footwear, apparel, beauty, accessories, all of these.
So they probably don't have, all the sizes, all the colors and everything in the store where they want to maybe fulfill it from. And, Decathlon, of course, is a slightly different category, but then it's fast moving. So they may have a situation like that, but then they also want to, fulfill, like you said, the promise made to the customer, right? So fast delivery is the game there, and of course, being able to please the customer in who's a, shopper of a luxury brand is the problem statement there. So of course, the real-time integration with all these platforms is the key item there, and the order hopping or the order routing rules, which are intelligent enough to bring the order to the right location is what is going to be the key.
So for me, three takeaways from this whole discussion around what are the key success factors. So I feel inventory visibility, I guess everybody will agree to that. Fulfillment and delivery. And then the predictive analytics, whether it is marketing, delivery, and so on. So predictive analytics plays a very important role. Thank you. Let's move on to the next big question. You know, there are so many solutions in the market. Shirish, Hemant, how do you evaluate a solution? You know, what are the key parameters which you do when you evaluate a solution? If you can please throw some light on it. You know, what has been your journey? How you evaluated, for example, Vinculum for your omni-channel solution?
Yeah, it was not definitely a very easy task for us because we have challenges of inventory. Being a fashion brand, probably I may not have more than 1 or 2 quantity in a store as such for any SKU. Whereas in the warehouse, we don't even put more than 20% of our total inventory for the fulfillment. So only warehouse cannot be a channel we can sell, and of course, warehouse fulfillment only warehouse fulfillment will have always the challenges of delivery factors as such. It will be delayed delivery. So we wanted to have a kind of the parameter was definitely who can cater us into multiple categories, being multiple brands what we have in a different categories. Major challenges was this. Again, like a beauty product, we wanted to get kind of even the expiry date and batch. That should also be one of the key point what we wanted to have. These were the kind of, and apart from that, we are again present on most of the marketplaces and our own e-commerce site. So integration with various marketplaces, that was a third key factor what we wanted to have. A feasibility of selling the product across the border. So that also we were checking at that particular moment. During the pandemic, actually, we signed up with Vinculum.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in 2020, we started talking to Vinculum in March, April, and then we finalized it in June or something like that. But across the border also, that was also one of the concept what we were, it was under thought process. So all these parameters, and of course, post that what is the capability of giving the support at any given time. And the most important factor is, of course, which every Indian company will see, is the cost. So all these parameters were there. We have gone through multiple sessions with all these suppliers, and wherever we found that, okay, I mean, this particular company may do a justice to us, we have chosen Vinculum.
So traditionally, SLAs have been
apart from that, one more very strong factor which Vinculum had is basically at that particular moment we have moved our entire e-commerce platform from the very traditional platform to Salesforce Commerce Cloud. And at that particular moment, Vinculum was the only company was having a integration with Salesforce Commerce Cloud in India.
So I think hats off to Vinculum.
So that was another decision that really helped us to have a kind of a tie-up with Vinculum and Major Band together. Yes, they were the first, I believe, to bring the integration with Salesforce Commerce Cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, Hemant, what were your key, parameters where you said that, I want to go with this solution and make sure that I get whatever is required for?
Yeah, so I think for us, the problem statement is a little different because when you are about 40 plus years as a company existing in the world, in India we are about 12 plus years now, there are a lot of legacy systems that already exist. And then when I talked about the transformation that we had to go through in the last 3 years, that became a very big parameter for us to choose what kind of WMS am I going to use. I have my legacy systems, I have everything built, being used for 10, 15 years already, be it in terms of OMS or a WMS inside the warehouse. But now what we wanted to see was something that had a lot of scalability and flexibility with ease, because when you talk about legacy systems, it becomes a little difficult to scale up at the pace that you would want, especially with the omni-channel retail or the new generation way of selling products, So that's where Vinculum played a big role, because we knew that they're very modular. I didn't have to change my entire ecosystem. Whatever was really needed was available. Lots of experience, because we already have a lot of clients, and I think these two are the very big parameters for us. The modularity of the solution, and to make sure that it's stable and it comes with a lot of experiences, which means a lot of processes are already there, inbuilt, and I don't have to rediscover everything from start. So these two were very big parameters, and of course the stability of the system is kind of taken for granted. So yeah.
Thanks. Deepak, you've been, again, I will say, working with so many brands. Can you describe the omni-channel product stack, what Vinculum has, and how it's been working with various brands?
Sure. Now we have two big proof points here, sitting on the stage. So, and between them, there is a lot of variety of categories and the way these two businesses are, right? So, and that's really our strength, that we cater to a lot of categories. We cater to a lot of different types of businesses. We can enable, so we got everything, when it comes to technology, we got everything under the sun we need to enable an omni-channel, and with partners like Logic, for the store systems, with other partners on the, web front side. We got practically everything, and we can do it from scratch. Enable the entire omni-channel experience for any brand, any category, pretty much. So we've got an order management, warehouse management, B2C and B2B both, plus a lot of other, complementing systems that help in the overall process. But these two are key. And then, of course, you saw earlier the launch of PIM, the product information management, which also becomes a key element to bringing in a consistent experience, very important for the omni-channel and stuff. So because you're selling on different channels, right? And your customers need to see your product exactly the same way across all the channels, and that's where the PIM system helps, right? So we got everything, pretty much, I would say. Rico, yeah. So essentially, yeah.
Yeah, actually, Omni Rico is a big challenge. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, Venkat.
Go ahead, Venkat. So Omni Rico, of course, when we say Rico, right? So it's a reconciliation platform. So we reconcile all the orders, recalculate, and help brands recover. Actually recover. I mean, if they have to give, we don't tell them, but they recover a lot of shortages, etc., or overages.
No, let me explain that. Yeah. Means what I was trying to explain was if you extend it to franchisees. So we have a solution which actually showcases how you can provide inventory visibility not just to the company stores, but also to franchisee stores. And you're in a position to actually compute what the franchisee commissions should be, provide a dashboard to the brand so that you know what is to be paid. And you also do the inventory updates back.
Okay.
So that's something which we have enabled. Okay. So that's quite interesting, because I don't think there are many products in the market.
I've not heard about many of them doing it. I think this was the first time I heard Omni Rico as a solution is available.
Correct. And Skechers is actually doing it right now as we speak.
Okay.
So, but this is something which I think many of the brands could, from an adaptability perspective, adoption perspective, there is a dashboard for each of the franchisee as well to see what he or she makes because of the fulfillment from those places. From a brand perspective, you're also cleaning up the older stock.
Yes,
from the franchisees as well.
Correct.
So that the newer stock goes in.
Interesting. Mr. Singh, what do you see, how do, if you have to serve omni-channel customer, what are the key areas which you will focus when delivering an omni-channel solution?
Bhavesh ji, omni-channel के मैं 4 pillars की बात करूँगा. So there is a one inventory, so like which we give it on a real time. As Venkat ji told about, say like if you have a 300 stores, उसमें से only 25 stores are the COCO stores. Other are the franchisee stores. So we are giving real-time inventory. That is the one inventory, right? Whether it is for your,
Franchise partner or a COCO store.
whether it is on an e-commerce or on marketplaces, n number of marketplaces, it's the same inventory, right? And after, again, on each order, on each shipment, right, it is again updated immediately, right? Then I talk about one CRM. It's a one CRM, customer is buying online or from your any of the store. So it's a one customer. His discount coupons, his loyalty points, his sales, redeem, occurring, everything he's doing like it's a single customer, right? And third, I'm talking about the say product information management. And the product information management, whether it is on your digital in-store, or it is on the e-commerce, or on the mobile, wherever it is, or on the social. So it should be the same. There should be no disconnect. Whenever there is some disconnect, you lose that customer, right? Fourth, I talk about reverse supply chain. People
Very important.
People
Reverse.
talk about half an hour delivery. Are you ready to take back in a half an hour? So there, if you are ready to take back in half an hour or in the same day, that's the thing. Where there the trust comes, confidence comes, right? Then that customer's with you.
Sure.
Because for selling, I can do anything. But taking return, that's the pain.
Sure.
Right. So, am I right?
No, wonderful, sir. Perfectly said. I was actually, sir, adding to what you were saying. Sorry, I'm not part of the panel, but just adding.
I think you should also join us.
Join here.
Maybe we can sit. So anyway, return from store, right? Means you should be able to return anywhere. It should not be restricted to, thank you. So it should not, we should be in a position to return anywhere.
Return anywhere. You can buy online, return at the store. And if you don't like anything from that store, you can buy it from the another store.
The other interesting aspects are, in fact, one of the things which we've been observing is complexity, because there are multiple systems, right? I have bought online. I'm returning in the store. Okay. Now, will the store give me a refund? Okay.
Currently, it's not happening.
No, it happened. Refund is online, right?
Yeah.
Will the refund happen in the store? Can I actually get a gift card which I use it for a purchase in the store itself? So that, let's say I bought an item for 5,000 rupees. I walk back into the Decathlon store saying I don't like this product, sorry, for whatever reason. I want to, Decathlon store guy, associate gives me a gift card, says that, don't worry Venkat, keep this 5,000 gift card. Why don't you look at some products which you would like to buy from the store? You have come here already, right? So can I actually do it in such a way that he buys a product for 6,000 rupees? So I take 1,000 in credit card or 1,000 in cash and use the 5,000 gift card and buy the items. Scenario 1. Scenario 2, I have an item for 4,000 rupees. Can I let him buy for 4,000 rupees and give him back 1,000 in cash? Or give him 1,000 of gift card again, saying that use 4,000 of your gift card for purchase. We have implemented this, sir, for some of the brands. Okay, but it is fascinating when you think of the possibilities. Because once a customer is in the store, you shouldn't let the customer go out without buying the product.
I really like the discussion because I think a few years back when we said this, it's not omnichannel retail that got this into Decathlon. I don't know if you ever tried. It's actually possible to do whatever you just said in Decathlon stores. You can buy anywhere in the country, you can return anywhere in the country. Even when you return, you can either choose to get the money back into your account, or you can even buy from the same store, or you get a credit note in the same store to come and buy back again. So that's what we believe in. Once a customer, we don't want to lose the customer, irrespective of what happens. Even sometimes at the cost to the company as well. And yes, this is possible. And it's not possible after COVID. It's possible since the time we started Decathlon operations in India. So it's something that we're very proud of. And yes, there are some things that has to be fixed maybe in the entire ecosystem at the back end, not for the customer, but maybe we'll explore more solutions to make it even better.
So So Decathlon there is fascinating. But if I look at it in general, this is something which brands struggle.
Yeah.
And that is what we've been able to achieve with some of the brands. But I think it's a fascinating opportunity to figure out how you can do. Here, the complexity doesn't end with just the purchase. The complexity also goes into the refund of the loyalty points. Because online I've got loyalty points. When I've returned it, the loyalty points have to be adjusted. When I've got a gift card, after purchase, the loyalty points again have to be added. So, and it could be a different brand or a different product or a different category. How do I do cross-pollination of that loyalty points? Also something which we have addressed. So, but again, I know Decathlon does a lot of these beautifully. You can talk a bit more, sir. But I just wanted to touch on the point.
Bhavelji, one more thing. Say like, what they were talking, it is only possible if you have a single database. Otherwise, it is not possible. Silos database, you are in a mess. It's only, and they are on cloud. If you are working on a single database, then only it's possible. Otherwise, it's not possible.
So, yeah, and whatever you said, add that with the month-end reconciliation with finance, it's even more fun.
And there, sir, the Omni reconciliation again comes into the picture. That's where the reconciliation again
Vinculum will come now.
Vinrico comes into the picture for that. That's exactly the scenario where we work on.
I have one team member here who actually works on this. I don't know the name him.
And we should introduce him to Hari immediately.
Sure. So, WMS in store, it's been not heard too much. How did you kind of, can you tell us a little bit more about it, and what was the need and how it's been helpful to Decathlon?
Yeah. So this more comes from an idea of how do we reach out to our customers with the promise that we said. When the customer walks into the store, it's readily available. And I think somebody touched upon the geography of India. It's quite complex with the transport network that we have. And then the lead times, if you want to open more warehouses, what happens to the bottom line? So with all of this, what we thought was today we have about 100 plus stores in the country. And we know that the physical retail will still grow irrespective of the omni-channel. And what we thought was, why not use all these stores? Because these are stock keeping units finally at the end of the day. Be it in the format of a store or you put it in a racks, it's still there is stock. And a stock that a customer can buy from, And that's where we thought, why don't we sell it directly from the store through our omni-channel retail? And keeping up with the promise that I've been talking all the while is to make sure that I have a strong base which can cater to this. It's sometimes in the store, it's not very easy to maintain the inventory accuracy. It's sometimes you have the stock in the trial room, some customer has it in the basket, or maybe it just entered the store and it's not yet come to the peg. So that's where the WMS plays a big role in bringing all of the visibility there. Plus add that little bit with the dark store concept that we're working now at a country level to see how we go much closer and faster to our users. So that's where the WMS plays a big role. And that's why I was talking about the modularity of the system, the speed with which the system can adapt to the needs that we come up, because there's already a lot of technology available inside Decathlon. And then a WMS that has the capability to integrate with all of them and then take it to the step further. And very soon you will see some robots inside a Decathlon store. And I know Vinculum is going to help us to do that.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Look forward to that. That's fascinating as well.
So yeah, now we all spoke about how Vinculum keeps helping their customers, brands. Impact is also very, very useful. So I would like to understand from Shirish, what has been the outcome? Yeah, meaning solutions take a lot of time to deploy and also see the real value. But can you share some areas where you've seen some operational efficiency or some things which have worked for major brands post the deployment?
Operational challenges are many. As Deepak mentioned about I have an e-commerce order and the walk-in customer, who should I choose? That is the biggest challenge. And looking at my depth of inventory is a major challenge for us. So it's not that easy. First thing is the DNA of a store staff need to change. We need to actually make them understand whether you are getting an order from omni-channel, e-commerce, or you are getting it from other store or even in your own store. It is your business. Otherwise, he is responsible for his store P&L and as such. So we have to overcome those by equally incentivizing them, kind of a thing. So make that, it is my business. I need to get my inventory cleared. I need to make my sell through better. So to bring that culture in the system is not that easy task, because they have been doing this particular job for ages together. He said that when earlier they used to just hand over the product to the customer and end the story. Apart from that, we are not geared with the kind of the return if it flows. Maybe during the Black Friday or something, this kind of a scenario, we have a tremendous flow from the e-commerce as well as at the store or mall. The humongous walk-ins are there. There then the operational efficiency need to be built up. Somebody has to be stationed at for the e-commerce orders itself. And then, so these kind of things basically, first brand need to be prepared for those kind of a thing. Cleaning up the inventory, because again, I'll just give an example. If, or many of you might have even seen, go to any footwear brand, use a dark color shoe, maybe a tan color, and if it is exposed to the light in a display counter, probably within 15 days, 20 days, that you will find a color difference in the product, which is not only with my brand, but it is universal kind of.
It's universal.
It is a universal kind of a thing. So that can be sold to the walk-in customer, but 90% of that product will come back on the omnichannel or e-commerce as such. So these kind of a situation has to be handled very carefully. You need to have a kind of a proper segregation. Okay, this particular product I cannot sell it on the e-commerce as such. And that is the reason in e-commerce, I think not only me, but almost every brand must be facing not less than 30% of a return as such. So, and return is nothing but a double loss. I mean, I'm not only because I don't know after returning the product whether that product is sellable anywhere or not. So I'm losing the product, I will be losing the logistic as such. So all this, we need to bring that culture into the system is very, very important. And unless we have that, we won't be able to succeed into the omnichannel business as such.
Thanks, Shirish. Hemant, you can share the impact of how Vinculum solutions have been.
If I add, how much percentage do you have returns? I have a feeling it'll be small, that's why I'm asking.
I can't share the number, but I know it's not what he mentioned, that much I can tell you. But yes, I think it's really a problem for sure. And I really agree to the fact, what you mentioned is, especially when you talk about an omni-channel, it really becomes a double-edged sword, You like it because you have now much more reach and much more capacity to reach your customers. But at the same time, like he said, the same product that actually sells in a store doesn't sell online because the customer is much more attentive towards what is he getting at his home, So that way it's really challenging in many ways. But at the same time, yes, to answer the question, how is Vinculum helping us, I think a WMS that has very easy front end to manage, it becomes very easy to train your store team members. Because like he said, a typical store team member always has great mindset of selling, but not great mindset of process. Because when you talk about e-commerce deliveries or inventory management, picking, packing, shipping on time, these are all not something that they are generally used to. And that's where the tools play a big role as to how they can ease it out for them. So irrespective of what they're trained on or in the past years, they're still able to adapt themselves much faster to the new way of living. We have some joke in Decathlon. Previously, we used to say sales leaders have 2 hands and 1 head, and now they have 10 heads and 20 hands because you have so many ways of delivering and reaching out to the customers. Management of forward, management of return, quality, is the product okay, what is my sales price that I'm going to look at with the quality of the product that came back. So yes, the tool really plays a big role if you really want to have a very strong omni-channel management.
Sure. Deepak, Vinculum has been working not just in India, but also in the other countries, especially Southeast Asia, Middle East. How are you seeing the legacy brands in their omni-channel journey in those markets versus what you are seeing it in India?
I would say, they're also evolving exactly the same way as we are evolving in here. There are different challenges though. I mean, if we look at Southeast Asia, treated like a bigger India, with diversities of cultures, food, traffic, and so on and so forth, right? One of the things which is probably more, rather unique is the geography itself, because it's a lot of islands, right? And logistics between smaller islands, out of 7,000 islands, if you've got population on 3,000 and there is, sensible population on, perhaps 200 islands, I mean, you got to set up hubs, distribution centers on each of these islands, depending on how the buying behaviors are. So logistics becomes a challenge, and I would say, Southeast Asia has been a bit more advanced in terms of, the same-day delivery, the faster deliveries, etc. Because they were probably the early adopters of the same. While we are catching up fast, and with the massive scale that we have here in India, I'm sure we'll be faster than them and perhaps be more advanced. So there's a lot of learnings we bring, from the global markets into the system, and bring them here to the other customers and vice versa. Other than that, I don't see there's much of a difference. One of the interesting projects that we're doing with a global brand in Southeast Asia across a couple of countries, and they call it FA2A. So, what was it? From anywhere to anywhere. From anywhere
to anywhere.
Very interesting. And now they're, trying to do a same-day delivery and using the local Swiggies there. So, the challenge really is, it's the Swiggies operate in the 30-kilometer radius. So you got to, and that's where the Omnichannel becomes very relevant, because you got to have the product exactly in the same store, which is in that 30-kilometer radius, of the customer. So yeah, a lot of learnings back and forth. So we continue to do that, from across the markets, and bring it to the as a value add to the system.
Thanks, Deepak. I've been told that there's just 5 minutes, and I had promised at the beginning that we will make it more engaging. So I open up for questions. Anybody has any questions, please raise your hands, take the mic. Yeah, we have few at the back. Anybody? Can you please pass on the mic, please?
Hi, good evening. I'm Vignesh. We have 2-3 questions. Couple of them are tech operations related, and one is more to do with your finance or business reporting and everything. The first question is, in your Omnichannel, do you use buffer logic? In case if you use buffer logic, then what do you do with the ones and twos inventory that kind of runs the risk of forming a long tail? Then how do you manage that? That's question number one. Yeah, maybe.
So this, you want who? This is addressed to Hemant
Anyone,
and,
so anyone.
I don't think that this can work without a buffer logic as such. So there are kind of a variety of logic. To be very frank, I don't want to that particular logic how exactly it has been used. But yes, buffer logic has been used. And to be very frank, I can't put a buffer on my store as such. I mean, very difficult for me. If I put a buffer in a store, it won't work for me. So yes, we have applied a lot of algorithms into that and come out with the buffer logic. Yes, but it has to be put.
yeah, Hemant.
So answer is yes, for sure. But what is challenging or what is tricky to find it, what is the amount of buffer you will apply, and on what kind of products.
Correct.
When you're fulfilling from a store, I think the buffer logic is much easier to manage than for a warehouse, because for a warehouse it becomes a long tail, like you said. For a store it's still fine because a customer can always walk in and still pick up the product.
So yeah.
So yes, it is there, but the tricky part, which of course I cannot explain it here, is how do you do it?
Correct. So on the follow-up to this, or maybe as an input to companies like say Vinculum, Unicommerce, there are a lot of OMS, WMS companies today, is that you can apply buffer logic at a channel level and not at a category or SKU level. I mean, maybe cracking that could be an answer to this, because for certain products you can operate without buffer logics. For certain products you have to have a buffer logic. Maybe that's something that we can think about. I don't know if we have it or if Vinculum has it. But as far as I understand, the buffer logics is applied at a channel level.
The buffer obviously applies to the channel, right? But like you said, it differs from the category to category or
Question
location
is,
application.
can't a buffer be done at a SKU level?
Or a category level at least.
I think it can.
Yeah, it is
I
pretty
think
configurable,
Venkat,
right?
it can be done at a product level also.
Can I have Raju to answer? Come up. I think it can be done, but let Raju answer it.
Yeah, so the answer is yes. The buffers can be applied at channel level. The buffers can be applied to the lowest unit, which is at an SKU level, right? It is more of an hierarchy where you are applying it. If it is applied at an SKU, it takes that, else it will take the channel one.
Okay.
But then this, so I'll give you an example here. From a fashion category perspective, when it's a new season stock, I want to put higher buffer for a store because I know that walk-ins can be more and I can use them. But for the previous season stocks, where I know my sales at the stores can be less, I can primarily put either one or no buffer because I know those would be slow moving.
Correct.
Right?
That's
So that's the perfect example, and that's the reason why channel and a SKU level buffers are required.
Just to add to it, why can't we have variable buffer? Basis the sales. It's an omni-channel, right? You have sales records from all the stores, from online channel, from everywhere, right?
So there can be rules that can be set up, right?
Yeah.
It's all about calculation, right? Their example, it's an run rate of sales. You
Right.
want to put it on run rates of sales. So I can split this into two parts. One is identifying what buffer to be applied, and then second is application of the buffer.
Right.
If I can put some algorithm to run and identify what quantity is there, whether it's based on 6 weeks of sales or 3 weeks of sales or 13 weeks, those are all algorithms that can be generated, which can be weekly run, and that then goes as an input to my buffer so that my inventory gets updated.
We can recommend it, or we can jointly work on what is to be configured and set it up.
Venkatji.
It's very doable.
Venkatji,
Haji.
I would like to add.
Please add, and we'll then talk to Venki. Venki is also, hey Raju, stay back, come back. You sit.
Sir, there's one more thing. And when we receive the orders, enterprise order management, say for example, there's an order from Bombay, right? In Bombay, there are the 15 stores, right? In a particular store, there's only 2 pieces. And after, say, 6 kilometers, there's a store, there are the 6 pieces. So that order goes to that place. So I'm not doing the buffer on a store, but I'm doing on a buffer on a global. Or say, I know this pin code is served by these 6 or 8 stores, right? So it can be managed very easily, no problem into that one.
Venki.
I'll just have one more question. So, if it's okay.
No, Venki wanted a question. We'll take it, sir.
Okay, just a classic question. Maybe it applies to everyone here. Whoever does Omni. So the accounting of Omni sales, how do you manage within your company or organization, or say, does it go to online channel or does it go to offline channel? Because offline channel does all the legwork, but it's typically sold online. So how do different companies manage? And then how do you do staff, motivate staff also to do that?
That's to the business.
What he's asking?
So he's asking, how do you split the sales, as in split the sales, or who gets the sale? You got an order online, and you're fulfilling from a store. So whose sale is it? Online?
Is there a correct method? See, the thing is, are we talking about the question, of course, is, are we treating offline and online as 2 separate channels? And if there is an online order fulfilled from store, what do you do? Is there from a P&L perspective, are you treating it as a store revenue or is it an online revenue? There's no correct answer to this, but the way you think might be different from how major brands thinks.
Yeah.
But let's hear.
I think it's got a lot to do with your human policy. How do you want to drive motivation towards multi-channel? We follow a certain way of doing it. I can't share it, sadly, because of the company norms. Sorry?
No. Correct.
We don't have franchises, so that way it is
Franchisee
easy.
store.
Yes. So that way it is easy, but yes, it's very complicated, I would say, the way we do it, at least in Decathlon. But how we do it is really based on our human policy, because we at one point decided that we want the sales leader in the store to be an omni sales leader. That's what we call them now. They're not anymore sales leaders, they're now called OS sales, omni sport leaders. So based on that, the logic of giving the turnover, the cost, the shrinkage, the returns, credit notes, many things that comes under the P&L is decided. So, and again, you have turnover where there are no stores. So what happens to that, where it goes at city level, country level, with different managers. So there are a lot of logics inside that. But I think it should be based a lot on what you want to drive as a company. Now you want to keep it as different channels, or you want to be a real omni-channel where all the team members or all the employees of the company talk the same language. No.
And just to add to that, we have we spoke about the endless aisle module, and there is an angle to that of commissions to the sales associate, which is configurable. You want it completely omni-channel, you actually build it that way, pay the sales associate that way, and treat it as an omni P&L, and there is a definition of how much revenue is taken there if you want to track it still at a store level. So those are configurable setups which we have created. But this is something which is still expansion of the module is happening. But this is happening with inputs from the industry. We believe in what they are talking, on an omni model kind of thing, but we have still kept it configurable because not everybody is ready for it.
Venkatji, like other brands, what they are doing is, see, if in-store sales, they are giving commissions, and the same person, when he is receiving the orders from the e-commerce, he is packing, and the company is giving commission on the packing also. So he's getting it, whether the customer is ordering in-store, on the app, right? So that guy is packing also, he's getting the commission in both the ways. So there's no discrepancy.
नहीं, वो नहीं है sir. क्या होता है? The sales associate is incentivized at least if we look at historically, is incentivized for selling in the store. Correct. Now this is an online order, which is being fulfilled from the store. Okay,
so he's
now
getting
packaging you might
also.
give. Packaging you might give, but there is a historical culture which Shirish was talking about, saying that they are used to essentially selling and pushing the orders at the store, not fulfilling online orders. This is a new beast which has come, kind of a culture, right? Am I right, sir? You can add to what I'm saying, but that you break by the principles you want to drive. Yeah. What he was talking about is the method to, if you're an omni leader, it doesn't matter whether you're fulfilling from the store or you're fulfilling from the online orders. You're treating this as the same as far as the sales associate is concerned. That's what you spoke about. It's a cultural thing that you have to drive.
So one thing is clear, right? There is going to be a split for sure, right? So the one who gets the order and the one who fulfills the order. Now, make it worse. How do you do it when you get a return of the same order? I'm sorry.
So reverse the entry.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Venki has
Sorry,
to.
yeah. Hi, Venki here from TTK Prestige. Just wanted to understand in a franchisee store model for omni-channel, what are the kind of controls that you think you need to have that need to be in place in terms of for franchisees? And what is the kind of, we've been talking about how we split the payments, etc. But for a franchisee, what the actual transaction in terms of the point of invoicing, all that stuff, what are the models that you use and what are the recommendations that you have? I'm not sure if that question made sense, but yeah.
No, it makes sense. Do you want to take it? No, actually, sir, what we have done is, see, when you, the first complexity is For a franchisee, that products, I mean, from a brand perspective, the product is already sold. From an inventory, it has already got adjusted from your system. So it is sitting in the franchisee store. Now, however, I have an order and I don't have it with me. The franchisee has it, or it is the nearest way to fulfill it, right? Now, the first person who is going to be very upset with you is your CFO. He is going to say, I have already sold this and you're going and fulfilling my order from a franchisee, right? Now that you'll have to obviously figure out with the CFO whether the CFO is open to doing it. But what the system can do is, it is configurable to say what is the ownership of the franchisee, what kind of percentages. Let's say you normally pay 20% or 10% to the franchisee. A fulfillment order, you will get half of that, 5%. So, but from a order perspective, you're still making sure that the older stock is going out. The franchisee is also happy that you're giving free orders to him. And the customer is happy that he's got the order very quick. And the CFO actually is happy that there is a system which can configure and tell what you should pay him, and you can even define something to the satisfaction of yourself and the CFO. That's what we can do, sir.
I think we are, oh, you want to have one question? Yeah, Prakash. I think I've got a couple of notes to wind up this session, and I think this would be the last one.
Yeah, hello. Okay, I don't know if you people can answer this. I just want to know, one is this RTO thing. It's a pain that whenever you get an RTO. I think RTO can be done for products where you have a higher margin. Okay, for a product where there is a very thin margin, even big basket, or even for a grocery product. मैंने एक 50 रुपए का बिस्किट आपको भेजा, आपने बोला बिस्किट में खराबी है, आप लेके जाओ वापस. मेरे को आदमी बेच के लेके आने मेरे को 100 रुपए का खर्चा है, तो मैंने बोल दूंगा छोड़ दो, आप बिस्किट रख लो अपने पास. So RTO, does it happen across categories, or it happens only in categories where there is a high level of margin and you can afford an RTO? Point number one. Point number two, I just want to understand, when it's for everybody, how does COD help in incremental orders? Does COD help in incremental of orders? One. The second flip is, does COD also increases the number of cancellations of orders? Because the consumer is not committed.
सर मैं आंसर करूं. फर्स्ट सर, जो आरटीओ की आपने बात की है, ये पेन पॉइंट है, और जब तक ये हाइपर लोकल या डिलीवरीज फास्ट नहीं होती थी, तो अप्रॉक्सीमेटली जो मैंने देखा उसमें 30 to 35% रिटर्न्स होती थी. जब से ये सेम डे डिलीवरी, नेक्स्ट डे डिलीवरी वाला जो आया है, उसमें रिटर्न्स जो हैं वो 5 to 7% तक आ जाती हैं, विच इज़ अ बिग अचीवमेंट. ये ह्यूमन साइकोलॉजी है कि लाइक मैंने कुछ ऑर्डर किया तो मेरी एक्साइटमेंट लेवल जो है, वो एक्साइटमेंट लेवल 3-4 दिन के बाद डाउन हो जाती है. देन आई सेड नहीं यार, अभी तो ज़रूरत नहीं है. नेक्स्ट डे आई सेड आई वांट टू हैव दिस वन, राइट. तो उसमें रिटर्न नहीं है. सीओडी के अंदर ये दोनों चीज़ें हैं. सीओडी के अंदर रिटर्न्स बहुत होती हैं, बट विद द एल्गोरिदम्स नाउ द शिपमेंट कंपनीज आर टेलिंग कि इसको सीओडी देना है, इसको सीओडी नहीं देना. उसके पास वो सीओडी ऑप्शन शो ही नहीं होता है.
But COD does help in incremental orders?
Yes.
Like if I give a COD, can I expect a 20% of orders increment?
See, there are a lot of people who don't want have cards. वो COD पे ही काम करते हैं.
No, for India and such geographies, of course, COD does help in increasing the number of orders.
Category, sir, isn't it?
Yeah. So where there is a lot of cash economy and stuff, right?
And I'm sorry, but it must be for a product like a grocery product. It's a very tricky situation.
many of the geographies and many of the customers, as Mr. Singh is saying, that the logistic companies suggest you this person should be allowed the COD or this person should not be allowed COD. So all that kind of intelligence is built into the system. That controls the COD and that controls the return also.
Well, I know we've had a great discussion for this particular session, and I'm certain you have a few more questions that's left out. I've been told all our panel speakers and our moderator are here today, and you can catch up with them during the networking session and clarify more questions. But as of now, because of time constraint, we'll have to halt this session right here. Can we give a big hand to our moderator and all our speakers?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Venkat, for joining us on stage. The stage absolutely looks complete, and thank you once again for all of those who kept asking questions. You made this so much more engaging. Thank you. Thanks a lot.